I'm back. Rodrance for the Matrix and Road Show, and we've got the Book of Boba Fett, episode 6. Yeah, episode 6, and wow, another good episode. Actually, a great episode this time. I do have to preface this by saying it's a sad indictment of the series that when Boba Fett's not involved, the series is really good. Yikes. Not a great sign for Disney overall. However, Dave Filoni did direct this episode, and he brought the absolute heat right from the beginning. We come out of the gate. The return, Timothy Olyphant, one of my favorite actors, was back as Cobb Vanth at the very beginning of this episode, and he was flexing his inner Raylan Givens from Justified. I'm a massive Justified fan. I'm a massive Deadwood fan. And, of course, he was the star of both of those great series. There's such a Western influence at times in this show. And, of course, The Mandalorian. And, man, if they would have just kept with this more hardcore theme throughout this show, it would be a much more, I think, well-recepted show. Look, both sides of the fandoms have serious problems with this series. Through 4 episodes. 5 was a bounce back, but 5 was a Mandalorian episode. Let's be real. It was a Mandalorian episode, not a Boba Fett episode. This had some things that had to do with Boba Fett in it, but at the end of the day, this was a glimpse into the Favreau-verse. That's right, the larger universe galaxy that Jon Favreau is trying to create. And it was really damn good. Really, really damn good. This will have spoilers all through it. All through it. So just be prepared. It was great to see Cobb Vanth back, that character. And then once he dispenses out some punishment to a couple of Pike Syndicate members because they're doing a spice transaction, which is, I guess, is, of course, Star Wars version of crack cocaine or methamphetamines. Mexicans, Americans. So, anyway, you get the point. They're having a transaction. Cobb Vanth, as he always does, playing these roles, as a gunslinger comes sauntering up, tells them, get the hell out of my town. They won't do it. So what does he do? He flexes his muscles and shows as he pulls the gun ultra fast, Han Solo style, and dispenses of those two guys, and that would set up something extremely special towards the end of this episode. The whole damn episode had some really good moments, special moments for Star Wars fans. Of course, we go back to Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, as he is flying onto a planet, and he gets out. We can tell, okay, it looks like we actually thought that he was going straight to Boba Fett, and this episode would actually show up during the Mandalorian series or Ahsoka series, maybe even. But we got it. He gets out. He is met by R2-D2. Great moment. Pretty sad note when it seems like that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have gotten R2 more involved through, 2 episodes of The Mandalorian and Boba Fett than in this entire sequel trilogy. But R2, of course, was great. Led him over to a spot where he would get to wait. Why was he having to wait? Because Grogu and Luke Skywalker, that's right, and I gotta tell you, when it comes to these special effects, the deep fake of Luke has become perfected. I mean, it was insanely accurate. Great. Not even, when he showed up at the end of the season finale of The Mandalorian, he still had that slight bit, even though it looked great, there was a slight bit of that. You could tell it was digital, et cetera, et cetera. This was flawless. I mean, they have come a long way just since they shot that. And maybe that's a product of them hiring the deep fake guy. of course, that was on YouTube, when they hired that guy. But whatever they did, I mean, they hit it out of the park. Luke looked flawless. They could absolutely have an entire Luke Skywalker series, not miss a beat, and have Mark Hamill playing a young Luke. I mean, at this point, that's not even a thing. We're gone from the awkwardness of Rogue One and Tarkin, okay? Just a side note, pretty cool. It was a very good interaction between Luke and Grogu. Man, it's a sad indictment when you see that Grogu has gotten more training than Rey. Yeah, Rey had 3 films in the sequel trilogy, and she did not get as much Jedi training. They are truly handling this in the correct manner with Grogu. They want to make it clear he is being trained, okay? Trained to be a Jedi. I think that is so important. That was so important to fans. When it came to that sequel trilogy, we never got it. Yes, that is such a big deal. J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy. And that's why you had so many people pissed off about Mary Sue. Again, the special effects were great. Favreau and Filoni, in my opinion, have been very respectful of Luke Skywalker's character. Something that Rian Johnson and, of course, his Merry Band of Misfits did not do in the sequel trilogy, the way they disrespected Luke. Great little story as they're walking along in the woods involving Luke and Yoda. Yoda's theme starts playing. Gets pretty emotional for me right there when Yoda's theme started playing, and I was like, oh man, okay, here we go. And but it was a great moment. It was really a good moment. And then when Luke walked over and put his hand on Grogu's head and said, let me help you get your memories back, or let's see some of your past to see what happened. And then we see, there he is. During the Jedi Purge, the clones are shooting down and killing the Jedi right in front of Grogu. It looked like in the temple. So, Anakin was there. Darth Vader was there. We flash back to Revenge of the Sith. Man, so good. So good. While Order 66 is going on, Jon Favreau loves the prequels. You can absolutely feel that. So does Dave Filoni. Good interaction. We're standing around. All of a sudden, bloop, Ahsoka comes sauntering up, and you're like, wait, what are you doing here? Exactly. Ahsoka shows up, and she starts, I kind of had a feeling, she starts sort of lecturing Din about, you need to consider Grogu here when it comes to him seeing you again. And we know why that's important, right? Jedis are not supposed to have attachment. And Ahsoka is trying to let Din know, look, with attachment comes fear. We know what happened with Anakin. He, obviously, he had a lot of pain surrounding Padme, surrounding the loss of his mother. And that started that transition to the dark side. We don't think we have a Sith right now. Of course, technically speaking, the Emperor is out there somewhere. And I wish he wasn't. But he is, nevertheless. But it was an important touch of her saying, look, you need to be sure because you can actually harm this child by seeing him right now. So it was good. It was a good learning moment for the character. They brought in the Force theme a couple of times. That was really good. The scores and themes in Star Wars is so important to get the moment right. This is what this entire show should have been the whole time. I don't know that they should have said, this is the book of Boba Fett. They should have just made this a continuation, called it something else, the Grogu adventure, whatever they had to call it. But if every episode would have been this kind of thing, there's no telling what the audience scores would be on this show right now. It was very cool to finally see Luke and Ahsoka after all these years interact, knowing that Anakin was Anakin was trying to train her. She recognizes fully that Anakin is the father of Luke, and she turns to him and she says, "You're so much like your father." And I was like, whoa. Good moment, great moment with Luke and Ahsoka, and them having screen time together was very cool. Luke was struggling. Look, again, this is a sort of a sad indictment of where this show is overall. The fact that when Boba Fett's not on screen, this show seems to knock it out of the park, which is sad. It's the book of Boba Fett. We get back to a scene where they're all standing around and making plans. Black Chrysanta's there, and Din Djarin has showed up. Din Djarin has chose not to see Grogu. Okay, leaves him behind. He leaves the Beskar armor that he made Grogu, and Grogu's got a decision to make. Is he going to be a Mandalorian, or is he going to be a Jedi? Very interesting there. Very interesting. I don't know where we think he might go. And so, anyway, they get back to that. Din Djarin's in the scene. But again, that scene felt so much weaker than the rest of this entire show during this particular episode. And, of course, they're making plans for a potential fight. A cantina gets blown up, a la The Sopranos. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected from this show to begin with, right? And then, of course, we go back to Freetown, where Cobb Vanth is. And Cobb Vanth is just talked to Din Djarin. Din Djarin is trying to recruit that town to help, because we know Cobb Vanth and the town helped with a monster. He helped them. They sort of did each other a favor, and then Din Djarin has a nice moment with Cobb and says, "Look, I need a favor," essentially. And you can tell Cobb's about to tell the town that he found the three guys that were selling spice. They're peddling drugs in your town. We must stop it. And so he's about to play that card. When he walks outside, and in the distance, you can tell somebody is walking up. And I'm like, and it's sort of a thin character. And I'm like, man, is this Han? Is Han just walking up out of nowhere? I mean, we're getting Luke and Han in the same episode. I mean, come on, give me a break. And I see this silhouette come walking up. And then finally, as he gets closer, you can see that hat. And you're like, oh, shit. Is this who I think it's going to be? Of course, we've never seen Cad Bane in live action. Only in the Clone Wars series, only in animation. He's a legendary Star Wars character that everybody loves. I love Cad Bane. He's a bad MFer. One of the baddest bounty hunters. We know he is Boba Fett's true rival. They hate each other. And we had a feeling he might come and show up finally in this series. He comes walking up, full on Lee Van Cleef style from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Great touch. I love that movie with Clint Eastwood. He comes walking up, and Cobb Vanth is out there, and he's already shown in all these episodes that, hey, Cobb Vanth looks like the quickest draw this side of Han Solo. And so he comes walking up, and as soon as he walks up, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, this is not good, because I like Cobb Vanth a lot, but I'm like, Cad Bane's about to kill his ass. He's about to kill him right here. And they exchange some words. Cad Bane basically tells him, look, stay out of this fight. Stay out of this fight. Your town needs to stay out of this fight. We'll reward the town handsomely if you stay out of this fight. And of course, Timothy Oliphant, Cobb, a.k.a. Cobb Vanth, he's not going to back down from Cad Bane at all. He obviously thinks he can outgun him, right? And his deputy is there. His deputy doesn't have, the same wherewithal to recognize, okay, this is a bad situation where everybody needs to play it cool. And then Cobb Vanth realizes, oh shit, my deputy is going to draw. And he's kind of looking over, and when he does, Cobb draws, Cad draws, and it's a wrap. Cad kills his ass. I guess. It looks like he kills him anyway. He shoots him right in the chest, it looks like. Cobb Vanth goes down. Cad Bane wasted the deputy. With like 5 shots. Boom, 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 boom. Gone. And, of course, he tells the town, stay out of it, blah, 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 and turns around and walks off. He's wearing an Imperial outfit, by the way. Very interesting. Wearing the Imperial outfit, but to see Cad Bane on screen, live action, Dave Filoni, a Dave Filoni episode, very good. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. Far and away the best episode of the season. Once again, best episode of the season, Boba Fett not included. Really and truly. At least there were some parts of this show that directly impacted the Boba Fett series. The Cobb Vanth thing, Cad Bane showing up. We obviously know where this is headed now. Boba Fett and Cad Bane are going. We should be headed towards that duel that we've all seen in that raw form on YouTube that they had shot and it never actually made it because they ended the Clone Wars series. And, of course, Boba Fett and Cad Bane had so much interaction in that animated series. Man, they hated each other. We're heading towards something awesome. 1 episode left. Now the big question is, does Han Solo and Chewbacca show up in the last episode? I've continued to hear that Harrison Ford shot scenes for this thing. The question is, did the scenes make the cut at this point? You got to wonder if they felt like it took away from the show. I don't know. But we will see. I don't see Luke and Grogu showing up at the end of this thing, but they might. Maybe Din Djarin ends up in a bind somehow during this big, mafia fallout at the end of the series. But I don't know. It was great. It was a great episode. God, this is the kind of thing we hoped we would see all season. But again, we hoped we would see Boba Fett doing badass things all year long, and we just haven't gotten that. It's sad. It's sad, and it's weird. It's just weird. The whole thing. That's more Disney shit for you. Plain and simple, what they've done with Star Wars. But this was good. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. 4 out of 5. Holy shit. Can't wait for next week. 3 weeks ago, I would have never said that. I'd have been like, ugh. Another episode's coming. Yikes. So it's clear. Last week, this week, Favreau-verse overall works. Book of Boba Fett doesn't work. It is what it is. I don't know. Weird. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.